Hi, Thad Michael here. Thank you so much for registering and taking control into your hands in regards to the state-regulated burial insurance benefits program. As I have said before, no one's going to call you. I am not going to call you. I'm not going to sell your information to someone else so that they can call you. No one's going to knock on your door and try and sell you anything. This whole process, it's up to you, remember? And it's at your pace. Okay, I'm going to try to make this first tutorial short but sweet. So in this video, we're going to cover the first two ways you can pay for a cremation, traditional funeral, and the final expenses. There's four total ways or four ways to pay for a funeral, traditional funeral, final expenses and such. I'm going to go over two today, right now, okay? I don't want to do too much at one time. I want to make sure the information is perfect for you. So the first thing is, let's identify if there's even a problem or a need. So if you're watching this, then you are like many, many Americans and have nothing in place to pay for your funeral, burial, and final expenses. Whether you want a cremation or a traditional funeral, you don't have anything in place to pay for it, right? That's why we're here. Ensure you don't have a plan in place for when you pass away. Now, if you already have this problem or need covered, meaning your burial is already paid for, then you really don't need to go through this tutorial unless you just want the entertainment. If you want the entertainment value, certainly keep watching, and that's fine too. I'll do what I can to entertain, but mostly we're here to learn. But my caveat to that is, why spend your own money? Just doesn't make sense. That's what this is about. So if you are like many Americans out there who have worked your entire life and you're now on a fixed income and you don't have anything in place to pay for your funeral, burial, and final expenses, then stick around. We might learn something and we might come up with a solution to this problem. That's the goal. So for many of you that don't know this, the average traditional funeral, meaning you're buried and you have a traditional funeral, costs about $8,000. Now a cremation is anywhere from $800 to $2,000. In some places you can get it cheaper and so forth. I'm just giving you averages. And it can be more for a cremation. I'll give you an example. My father's cremation was $3,200 and some change. Now, the reason his was so much is because not only did we have the cremation, but we also rented a casket, did an open viewing. We actually had a real funeral, so it was $3,200. So when people think about cremation, they also have to think about what's going to happen. Am I just going to be put in an urn, or is there going to be more to it? And if so, there's cost involved. And sadly, nothing is free. Well, that's not true. The government will actually will pay $255 to go towards your burial or what have you. And that's not a lot of money. It's not going to do a whole lot for you. So to backtrack, and for the sake of an argument, if you will, traditional funeral, average cost, $8,000. Cremation, average cost, $800 to $2,000. Big gap there, I know. So there's four ways to pay for a burial, funeral, final expenses, whatever you want to call it. The first way, and it's not very popular, you do nothing. You do absolutely nothing. You pass away and you pass that burden on to your children, your spouse, your friends, your family, your loved one. And that may seem like a stupid option, but it's an option that some people take. And you can do that. But I'm guessing if you're watching this video right now, that isn't something you want to do. Most adults don't want to leave the burden of the funeral and the costs and such to their kids and loved ones. They're behind me. I don't want to leave it to them, and I'm sure you don't either based on you're here watching this. Now, there are other alternatives, of course, which we'll go over, but doing nothing is an option. But if you don't prepare for this sooner than later, this option will be the only option, and that's why we're here today, to figure out an alternative. Let me tell you a story about my dad. And I'm going to make this as quick as possible, and I'm not going to cry. Well, I might, but so my father got diagnosed with cancer many, many years before he passed away. Well, you fast forward, and before he was 65, he he got terminal cancer. He knew he was going to pass away. Now we all know it, right? But there's not a date. There's no like this is the day, this is the month. And that's the problem is we've procrastinated our entire lives on something that's inevitable, and when the day comes or you're told the day is coming sooner than what you think, it was hurry up. And it was hurry up and wait, meaning hurry up and I'm waiting to pass away because I'm going to. And he called the Moose Lodge, the military, his old union. He did everything he could to come up with enough money so that my sister and I didn't have to pay for the burial. And the reality is, we didn't care. We didn't care whether he came up with a solution. We didn't want him to pass away, but it was inevitable. And he did everything he could. He came up with some money. We still had to foot the bill. I hate to use the word it killed him. It killed him inside that it was something that he couldn't take care of on his own and that he should have. And he did have something in place when he was in his 40s. The problem is he ended up having a quadruple bypass, some cancer, lost a job, went on disability, and didn't have the money to keep his life insurance at the time in place to cover the burial and other expenses, and which is what most people want to do. And your story may be the same in the sense of you couldn't afford it or you just haven't planned for it. And the reason I do what I do is simply because of the look on my dad's face that he couldn't fix this problem, and that now the problem was mine and my sister's. And from a father's perspective, our job is to protect our kids. And he wasn't able to do that in his head. Anyway, that's why, just a quick little story. Most people don't want to do nothing because they don't want to pass that burden on to their children, their loved ones. And so that's why we're doing this. So anyway, the second option. The second option is you use your own money. Now, this usually isn't an option for most people on a fixed income, because having $8,000, stashed under your mattress, specifically designed to pay for your funeral, it's really tough to do, especially nowadays. But this is an option. Now, let's say you are one of those fortunate ones. You're fortunate enough, you have savings, you have money put into your bank account, and whether it's specifically designed to pay for your burial or not, the money's there and it could be used for your burial. And this is a but, it's a big but. Why spend your own money? Why purchase? Because remember, a burial, a funeral is a purchase. Why write a check for $8,000 when you pass away to pay for your burial when you don't have to? That money could be earmarked for a child, a grandchild, a college fund, your church. So you could do that. And that would be a plan that takes the burden off your kids. And that's a good idea. That's a good thing. Because that's what we want to do. We want to take that burden off of someone else's shoulders. Our burden. We don't want to put it on someone else. But again, you should keep your own money. So in short, out of the 4 ways to pay for a funeral, I've gone over 2 thus far. You can do nothing, or you can spend your own money. And at the end of the day, you've at least put a plan in place in regards to your funeral and final expenses. It may not be the best plan, but it is something. But wouldn't we agree that doing nothing isn't the best plan? Can we agree on that? I'm shaking my head yes. I hope you are too. I wish I could see you, but I can't. But I'm hoping you shook your head yes. Yeah, that's not the best plan. Can we agree that if we had $8,000 hidden under our mattress, and although it's a plan and it relieves the burden from our children and loved ones, but we just lost $8,000 of our assets, of our estate, it's been taken out of our savings, what have you, of our hard-earned money, that again could have been earmarked for our kids or grandkids. Could we agree that that's a plan, but not the best plan? I don't think it's the best plan, but it's a plan. So those are the two ways. And I want to thank you again for spending time with me on this so far. I wanted to make the first tutorial short and as sweet as possible. And I know I haven't shown you how to use the state-regulated burial benefits program to pay for your cremation, traditional funeral, and final expenses yet. But this is a lot of information, and I want to make sure I deliver it to you in the most precise way I can. Now in the next video, which is below, we're going to go over the third way to pay for your burial. The third way is a little bit more involved, so I want to do one whole video on that. It'll be about the same length as this one, I hope. And then after that, we're going to unlock the beauty, if you will, of the state-regulated burial insurance plan and how that plan is designed to pay for your funeral so you don't have to. So bear with me. The videos aren't that long, and you can do it at your own pace, like I said. Just hit the button below to gain access. You hit the button below, and that's how you gain access to the next video, and do it at your own pace. I hope you have a great day. And if we do talk someday, it'd be you calling me, of course. I'm not going to call you, which I've said. I want to do this different than what is traditionally out there today in the industry. I want to put the control in your hands and so forth. So in the next video, we'll talk some more. Have a great day. Bye.